And we're live. Hi, everybody. It is day one of the Fearless Challenge here at choosetohaveitall.com. And I am so excited to have you guys here. So for those of you who are just joining me today and don't know what the heck I'm talking about, with my community, I am running a 5-day challenge this week, Monday through Friday, to help you fear less so you can become fearless. I think a lot of times when people are thinking about the lives that they want and the dreams they have and the goals they set out for themselves, a lot of the times what you hear are all of the reasons why they can't have those things come true. You hear sort of things like, oh, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, it would be great if only I didn't have kids, or my husband would never go for that, or my wife would never support me. And there's all these kinds of reasons and excuses, quite frankly, that people, when they're talking about their dreams, kind of just get stuck. And they refuse and they struggle to take action. And one of the things that I think happens is they start to believe all of these things they think. They buy into those reasons, and they don't realize that the reasons that they're coming up with simply are their fear talking. Like beginning, middle, and end. There's nothing you can't do, and there's nothing you can't learn, and it's all possible for you, but you have to be willing to go after it, and you have to be willing to fight for it. And as I was preparing for this challenge this week, I was telling people that you can't kumbaya your way through fear. You have to go to war with it. And I think people have this story that if they're nervous or if they're worried or they feel kind of held back, or maybe they recognize that they're making themselves small, they have this belief that they have to kind of do their inner work and work on themselves before they can get to the next step, right? Well, one of the things that I start to tell people is that you can't just sit and believe yourself into confidence. Confidence doesn't come until you make a change in your behavior, until you choose something differently, until you do action, until you try something new, evaluate it, and see how you landed with it. That's the only way you're going to get really clear on what it is you want. Now, the part of the problem is when people do this, they really just have no idea where to start, right? And they get stuck in their own head and they say, well, first do I do this or first do I do that? And then suddenly you hear that like overused word, overwhelmed. And suddenly people are talking to you about feeling really overwhelmed because they don't know where to start, or they don't know how they could ever begin because there's just so much to do, or there's just so much they don't know, or there's so much help they would have to have. And they have no idea where to begin. And recently, actually, it's actually not that recently anymore. Last year I had a client, and I know I totally clickbaited all of you with the title of how I have this client who made $20K in one day. And literally, she made $20,000 after having one conversation with me. So the return on her investment was quite good because she came to me with a goal and a wish and a hope for herself and her future, and she just didn't know how she was going to get there. And she told me, and she started the conversation, quite frankly, with, I'm sure this isn't possible, or I don't even know if you're the one who could help me, but. So I want to tell you today about Suzanne, but then I want to tell you about Suzanne's story, what we did, how I helped her, and then I want to break down her story so it can be applicable to yours, because there's nothing in her story that isn't also true for you. So Suzanne, almost like probably close to 20 years ago, was an administrative assistant for a new startup company. It was started by two guys, and they needed somebody to help them out with the secretarial tasks, and she signed up, and she was willing to do mailings, and she was willing to take phone calls and messages and do little office tasks and help them manage their schedule. And she really liked working for them. She liked their vision for the company. And over the course of 20 years, this little tiny startup that could became a really good, strong business, operable, money making. It expanded. It had a team. I think at some point she said it was like close to maybe 100 employees between a couple of different locations, and they were developing new products. There was a lot of buzz in the air about who they were and what they were doing. And for 20 years, close to 2 decades, she really, with her whole heart and her whole just genuine intention, loved working for them. And she called me because she had been at a holiday party. And she was introduced at one of the sort of staff get-togethers, and the owner of the company, said, "Hi, this is Suzanne. She's our office manager." And Suzanne kind of just smiled and shook the person's hand, and they had a nice conversation. And she said that after that moment of being referred to as an office manager, she felt like they weren't talking about her, because she had hired a series of administrative staff. She had helped develop a human resources department. She was managing the schedule for the 2 owners, helping their assistants get things on track. And she was kind of the go-to person for everyone, from the maintenance person to payroll and anybody in between. And there was something about that office managed title that just kind of got to her, And she said right away, she's like, "They've always financially rewarded me for my time. They're so generous. I get a ton of praise. I care about these people. I love this company. I want to keep working for them, but I don't want to be an office manager anymore, because it's been a long time since I've been an administrative assistant, and I don't think I do the work of an office manager. I think I've become a manager. I'm a leader in the company, and I don't know what to do." And she basically kind of just came to me for this consultation because she thought she was going to have to leave her job. And one of the things that, as we started to pick apart, I kept hearing her say over and over again, "Well, maybe I can't work somewhere else because I don't have a college degree. Or maybe people aren't going to like the fact that I've just worked in this one company. Or maybe this and maybe that." And she kept coming at me with all of these different concerns and worries, and having no idea where to go. And the only thing she knew is she wanted a life that was bigger than the one she had, but she didn't know if she was willing to leave a company that she genuinely, with her whole heart, really loved, in order to kind of dream bigger and to dream better. And one of the first questions I asked her just kind of like knocked her on her feet a little bit. And I asked her, I said, "Well, are you so sure you have to leave in order to have a bigger job?" And she kind of was like, "Well, what? Like, this is as good as it gets for me in this company." And I really questioned her thinking on that, because what she was describing to me was a company that really operated very similarly to a family, where everyone kind of pulls in, chips in, gets things done, works together. They have a really strong team and they're a really strong unit, but there's not a lot of systems and structures in place. And I asked her if there was a possibility that maybe she was making an assumption here, because she was talking about 2 employers who give her 5 weeks vacation time, who, when she had a sick family member, they gave her extra paid leave, and they didn't even blink twice about it, that they're always very generous, not only with their yearly bonuses and their holiday bonuses, but when the company does well, they're very quickly to reward the employees. She just really felt really good about them. And so I said, this idea that you can't be bigger there, it doesn't add up yet. You have to ask. And she was terrified by that. She was terrified too by the idea that she would have to talk to her employers, who she just genuinely had good care and concern for. She was worried that she would offend them. She was worried that they would feel suddenly that if she started talking at all about being unhappy at the job, that she would be seen as having one foot outside the door, so people wouldn't lean on her or trust her or include her. And she was worried that they would basically say, "Listen, we give you a lot of money and you don't have a college education." And what I told her is that that's her own story about herself. That's her own fear talking. Nobody at the company ever treated her like just some small administrative assistant. She was the one putting herself in that box and keeping herself small. Nobody had been putting her down. I asked her for examples of times when other people kind of put her into a corner or made her feel less than. And she was really quick to say that she worked on a team with a lot of people who loved and supported each other, and she felt included in that. And I told her that it was time to put on her big girl pants. That if she really wanted to be bigger, if she wanted to step into the life of somebody who had accomplished everything that she had, because she had been in that company from when they were in somebody's garage until multiple sites and multiple locations, that she had earned a seat at the managerial table, that all of the work she was doing was that of a manager. And I absolutely encouraged her to go after it. And so we broke it down into steps. And here's the thing, guys, when you're really afraid, you keep talking to yourself. You answer back to the voice in your head, and you never talk to the people involved and simply tell them what you want them to think. And that's what I told Suzanne to do. I told her she had to put on her big girl pants, she had to request a meeting, and she had to tell them what she was thinking. And again, I started to hear, but my review was just 2 weeks ago, and they're going to ask me why I didn't say anything then, and I should have said something. I'll just wait till next year. And I said to her, I said, Suzanne, you can't wait till next year, because your dream that you want is right now. And there's no proof other than your own enemy in your head that you can't have it right now. And so I really slowed her down, and all of those reasons she was telling me no, every single one she came at me with was simply her fear talking. Hey, I see Beth just joined. Hi, Beth. Nice to have you here. Thanks for joining me and keeping me company. So I talked to Suzanne, and we didn't just go into this kumbaya state of believe in yourself and it's okay, go after it. I broke it down into steps, and that's what you guys are going to have to do if you want to be less afraid as you get ready for your big ask. And so I encouraged her to ask for a meeting. I encouraged her to tell her bosses exactly what she had told me. I love working here. This place, this company is my dream. I want to be here. I'm devoted and loyal to you. But we were at the holiday party, and when I got introduced as the office manager, it made me feel small, because it feels like it doesn't include my contribution to this company. It feels like it doesn't acknowledge the work I do, because I do feel like I manage more than the office. I feel like I'm part of managing this company. And we broke it down, and I told her, and then you're simply going to ask to be considered for a managerial position in the company. And we walked her through that part, right? So the first ask was, I would like to be seen as a manager of the company in terms of supervising staff beyond the office clerical administrative staff. And then she said, well, they'll probably do that. That's fine. They'll just give me the title. And if not, I'll be the office manager and it's okay. And she kind of wanted to end it there. And what I told her is that part of what I was hearing from her is that she knew she'd gotten better, that there was no college degree to show it, but she had 20 years of skill sets in this one company that said she earned not just the title, but the compensation of a leader and a project manager in that firm. And I encouraged her to go for both, the title and the salary. And again, she told me, but I don't have a college degree, but I've never asked for this. There's other people who've been in the company, and I know they've been waiting for this position. Who am I to go after it? I don't want to step on anybody's toes. And as we were having this conversation, I could see Suzanne making herself smaller and smaller, and she was trying to talk herself out of the dream. And I bet that if, as you're listening to Suzanne's story, you're probably thinking of times that you talked yourself out of your own dream. You told yourself, not now, maybe later, I'll just take this one class, I'll just go and do this one thing, and then maybe I can try again later, or maybe next time. And you never went after it. And that answer for me just wasn't good enough. And I told Suzanne so. I said, no, you have everything you need here. You know your heart. You know your intention. You know that you don't want to go working for somebody else. You know you don't want to go and take this skill set that you've achieved with them and go give it to somebody else. That you want to give them your gifts and you want to offer them your talents. And so that if they say no, the question isn't going to be that you put your head down and you walk away and you make yourself small again. Instead, what you're going to do is you're going to say, what would I need to do to get there? So if you got to know, I'm just giving her a plan. Like, you're going to ask for what you want. You're going to tell them everything you want them to think. You're going to give them all the information they need to know about you so they're not walking away with any assumptions or misunderstandings. And you're just going to tell them your authentic, just your truth. And she did it. And she did it so well. She requested the meeting. And again, I coached her kind of through it in the language, but she requested the meeting. She sat both of them down and she said, I'm really embarrassed that I have to have this meeting with you. I wasn't supposed to be doing this now. I should have done it 2 weeks ago at my review. But here's the thing. It looks like I might be getting a little bit of an internet connection. Hopefully you guys can still see me, and I'm going to keep going, and if it gets choppy or whatever, I'll go back and keep telling the story here. So basically where I was at is she went into this meeting and she nailed it. And she said, I should have done this 2 weeks ago. I should have told you exactly what I wanted you to know. But I was at this party, I heard myself referred to as an office manager, and I realized that I don't just want to be an office manager for you. I want you to see me as a manager and as a leader in the firm and as somebody who can do more than that. And they were shocked. And she told me afterwards that they were like quiet for 5 minutes. And then they got really embarrassed because they always assumed that she didn't want to do anything more. And they were holding guilt and a sense of responsibility that they kept trying to give her with money and financial rewards and financial bonuses. They just kept trying to reward her with a higher salary bonus without, having the conversation with her because they didn't want to embarrass her. But they felt like that she was a contributor to their company. They felt like she deserved a spot at the table. They were just worried that she didn't want one, and they didn't want to keep asking more and more of her because they knew they had only hired her all those years ago as an office assistant. So here's the thing, guys. If you don't ask, if you don't put yourself out there, there's absolutely no way that you're going to find out what exists for you on the other side. The only way you find this out is if you ask, if you go for it, if you tell the people exactly what you want them to think and what you need them to know. So here's the thing, is you have to think about what it is you want for yourself. What are the goals you have? What are the things you're working on? What are the things you're trying to accomplish for yourself? And who do you need to ask to get help, to take the next step? Because Suzanne left that meeting with a Chief of Operations title, I believe it was, COO, Chief of Operations. I think that's her title. And she left $20,000 richer. It was that much money on the table that she was walking away from week after week by not dreaming big, by not putting herself out there, by not going after the life she wanted, the professional recognition she had deserved and earned. She didn't go for it. until she said for herself, I deserve more. I want more. So she walked away with the title. She walked away with the salary that had included some retroactive pay that they kind of wanted to make, amends for. And she got it. She got everything she wanted. It only happened because she asked. And that's what you guys have to start thinking about. Get really clear on what it is you want, what it is you're going to go after, what your big dream is. And it may not be as big of an ask as a raise or a salary increase, or it might be bigger than that, and it might be smaller than that. But some of the people who've talked to me before this challenge have talked about needing more time for personal hobbies. Other people have told me that they wanted to be able to travel more, that they want more lifestyle freedom, that they have bigger goals for themselves. And whatever your goal is, the fears and the reasons are just your excuses getting in the way. They're what's standing in the way between you and the life you want. And for the next 5 days, you and I are going to be working together to get over those fears one by one fear at a time. Because here's the thing, everything you want is on the other side of your fear. Now, tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the two biggest fears that keep people stuck: the fear of rejection and the fear of failure. And those two things keep people frozen and in action, and they don't have to. So I'll be working with you to accomplish that and to get over that with specific tools and strategies. I can't get you to do that just by sitting in the chair and watching me on Facebook Live. It just doesn't happen. You're going to have to get uncomfortable. You're going to have to make new choices. You're going to have to take some chances, take some risks, and you might fall down. But for the next 5 days, I'm with you here, and I've got you, and I'll teach you all of the tools and tips you need to get to the other side of this. I really hope you'll join me for the rest of the week with all of these challenges, because I really think that by Friday, you can get to where you want to be, and you can get clearer on what it is you want and what you need to do to get over it so you can go after it. If you have any questions, certainly put them in the comments. Hopefully you got all this video. If it got interrupted and choppy and I froze, I'm going to go back and I'll redo it for you. But hopefully it turned out okay. And if you do want all the bonus material that comes with the training that goes along in an email that I send out, certainly make sure you officially sign up for the challenge so that I know you're in it. And you can do that over at choosetohaveitall.com/fearless. It's choosetohaveitall.com/fearless. But I'll put the link in the comments below. Let me know what goals you're going after, what dreams you have, what you're working on. And I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. It's going to be at a different time. It's at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'll see you tomorrow afternoon, unless I need to do the Facebook Live over, which then it'll need sooner. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.